This video, I'd like to address the fact that there are going to be spoilers in this. Spoilers for the 18-year-old game, yeah. But I understand that people get into this game, and Persona in general, through Persona 5, not 1, 2, 3, 4. But just a warning, yeah, I'm going to talk about spoilers, because I beat the game. Uh, with that out of the way, I also want to say that this video is entirely unscripted. I don't have the time to make a fully scripted video because I just don't. I don't have time like that. This will be talking about quality of life changes, the original versus reload, the voice actors, additional content, and Persona 1 and 2 remakes, and how I'd want that to be. With that out of the way, let's begin. Persona 3 Reload! Yeah! Quality of life changes that I really liked in this game was the compendium, uh, Thergies, or in specifics, fusion spells, because they're basically the same thing. I like that to get them, it's not you need two specific personas, you just need to register a lot of personas into the compendium, which I think is a really good idea. It makes things a lot easier. Uh, this game in general is a lot easier than the original, which is both a good thing and a bad thing, but that's also just been a thing with Megami Tensei games in recent history, is that they're pretty piss easy, and I'm gonna single out Persona 5 because uh, the original Persona 5 is really easy, and Royal makes it insanely easy, so much to the point that it kind of feels like a movie sometimes. But I think the quality of life changes in Reload were something I didn't mind all too much. Uh, Koromaru is insanely broken in this game, and I think party members in general just got these weird changes. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, but I don't think it's anything that ruins the game. It's just kind of like maybe you won't have the same party if you played the original as you would in Reload. Like Akihiko sucks in Reload, but he's really good in the original. Koromaru is okay in the original, but he's insanely fucking cracked in Reload. Don't know why he has Revolution at the start and can get Debilitate and, like, just insane fucking moves. Uh, my final party to mention on that note was, I guess, Shunpei and Koromaru, because they both did a lot of slash damage, and I had a bunch of buffs, which made things a lot easier than it should have been, honestly. Again, spoilers that I'll be bringing up. Well, no, this topic will go into the original versus Reload. So we'll start off with that again, or now. Uh, the original Persona 3 was kind of hard, by today's standards at least. In Well, I say today's, but like Persona 5's, I guess. Uh, yeah, it was hard. Uh, Bosses though were very easy. I'm gonna bring up Strega in specific. Strega was really easy in the original game. They were fucking pushovers, like insanely bad pushovers. In Reload, they're actual bosses now, and they can like shift. And at the end of the game, the final Takaya fight, he can do a Therapy, which is crazy. I didn't think he'd do all that. Jin has this like desperate move thing where when he's at like the lowest health, he'll inject himself with something. I forgot what it was. I'm pretty sure it's like the medicine things that they give to Shinji. I could be wrong, but that like gives him health, but it also halves it each time he does a move, but it makes it more powerful, which was like crazy insane to me. That's a cool idea. Uh, Chidori's fight was also kind of difficult, but it's also scripted now, kind of. Yeah, it was a pretty scripted fight, honestly. Maybe for the better. I think narratively it fit, but kicking Chidori's ass in original will never not be funny. Um, Nyx in the original was, if you've played the game, you know that boss is not easy at all. Which is why I'm kind of disappointed to say that it was very easy in Reload. Like, in the original, Nyx took me about like a half an hour to an hour maybe. In Reload, it took me about like 10 minutes. I played on normal uh, because of what I've heard about the game's difficulty settings, where it gets the Persona 5 Royal treatment. I'm really dogging on Persona 5 a lot, but it's just an example. Royal Merciless difficulty is the easiest one, which, that totally makes sense. And I heard it's the same in Reload, so it's like, you know what? Yeah, I'll just go normal. Because good enough, I guess, if Merciless is easy as shit. Uh, you could say, then why didn't you go hard? Well, whatever. I could have gone hard, I guess, but I just didn't. uh, with that out of the way, I think Reload is definitely the better version of the game. Uh, is it the definitive Persona 3? No, obviously not. There's no the answer yet. That got leaked, if you didn't know. Uh, there's no female protagonist, which I know not a lot of people want, but there's also a lot of people that don't want that because a specific social link. Yeah, that I'm not gonna bring Kanamata, but there's a lot with the female protagonist that I think really deserves a remake treatment, and I think should not be locked behind a glorified visual novel, which I really hope they do. But there's a lot they have to do to make something like that, especially if they want to do the answer, which is like making the answer again twice, which is like, I don't really think they want to do that or would. Maybe if they really need the money, they'll do it. But I highly doubt we'll be seeing any portable stuff. Voice actor replacements. I think every character replacement was absolutely perfect. Uh, Alex Lee as the protagonist is. I don't think there could have been a more perfect casting. Zeno Robinson as Junpei was also a perfect casting. I don't think anyone else could have done it better. Uh, Dawn as Aegis was insanely good. Sometimes I couldn't even tell the difference from the original voice actor, Karen Strassman, which is good because I don't like her. She's kind of a not a good person, but and same thing with Vic. On obviously, I mean, Michelle Ruff as Yukari was in the original was really good, but I think the new voice actor really sold a lot of like Yukari's personality change. They did change her like quite a bit. She's not as I guess hostile as she is in the original, which I think is fine. Like whatever, I guess. Like, I don't get the consensus that Yukari is like an asshole. I think it's understandable. She's not a very uh, mentally situational character. If you catch my drift, like she's not one that would be happy with the circumstances she's in, and understandably would be upset with them. And I think that's something a lot of people don't really realize about Yukari in general, is that she's not an asshole. She's a girl with issues and like mental issues, and just a lot of issues. I put so much emphasis on that, but I'm trying to back her up, you know. She's not an asshole. She's just got a lot of things going on. Uh, Allegra Clark as Mitsuru was 1-to-1 with Tara Platt. Like, I genuinely couldn't tell that it was a recast sometimes. I thought I was just sitting there playing the original. I was like, oh, yeah, that's Mitsuru. But just a phenomenal fucking, that was just amazing voice acting from her. Ken's voice actor was really good. I think I prefer the Reload voice actor. Uh, Akihiko's voice actor, at the start, when people were hearing like his voice from the trailers, there was a lot of controversy about that, and understandably so. I think some of the lines that were shown in those trailers did not do him justice. Uh, but I think he was one of my favorite recastings. They did a really good job with Akihiko. There were some lines that, again, were not the greatest. It kind of just sounded like him talking, but I think he did a really good job as Akihiko. I don't think there could have been another voice actor that did it better. Uh, Justice as Shinji was really good. I loved his battle quotes. Like, they were insanely good. He doesn't say adios asshole, though, which is like, come on, man. Come on. Why can you say that? I think his voice direction was a little strange. He kind of sounds too high-pitched for someone like Shinji. But he's also like a teenager, kind of. No. Yeah, he's a teenager. I don't remember their ages. I don't really look at that. But he just kind of sounds a little too high-pitched for a character like Shinji, and especially in comparison to Grant George's interpretation of Shinji. But I think he did really good. Again, it's another situation where I don't think anyone else could have done it better. Uh, who else? Koromaru. uh, yeah, Koromaru's awesome. He didn't get recasted. He's just a dog. Um, did I talk about Xena Robinson as Junpei? I don't think I did, but I'm gonna mention it anyway because he was my favorite one. He was my favorite recasting in the entire game. Like, oh my god, he's so fucking good, dude. He's such a good Junpei. He blows Vic out of the fucking water. Oh my god. Who else? I don't think I'm forgetting anyone. Fuka. What's her name? I think it's Angie. I don't want to like butcher anyone's name, but Fuka's voice actor in Reload is definitely my favorite Fuka voice actor. And interpretation of her character. I think they did Fuka like a lot better in Reload than they could have in Portable or the original, where she just kind of like there. I'm not gonna lie, she's kind of boring in those games, but in Reload she's a lot better, and I think it's really cool because I liked Fuka in the original, but I could not ignore that. Yeah, she wasn't the greatest in terms of character development or being fleshed out or anything like that. She was just kind of a shy girl, and that was pretty much it. And she liked mechanic stuff, I guess, if you played her social link. That was like the only time it gets brought up. But they mention it a few times outside of it, which I think is cool. But in general, like Strike and whatnot, the other characters, I like that the original voice actors are still in there too. Like Yuri Lowenthal is Yukari's dad, Grant George is Masuru's dad, Michelle Ruff is one of the shopkeepers. I forgot which store. It's where you like do the Nihil orb stuff and like Nihil cloth. But it's cool that they're all in there. Karen Strassman is too, but like, yeah. Additional content. We're gonna move on to that. DLC personas are insanely busted, which I think, personally at least, if you want to experience Persona 3 for the first time, do not get those DLC personas. You will blast through the game, and you honestly won't really have a great time, I'd think. I like games with a challenge personally. There's a lot of people that can vouch for that. If something's too easy for me, I don't really like it. Unless it's Fortnite. Then fuck you, Fortnite. Fuck you, Epic Games. Anyway, um, there's a lot of additional stuff into this game that just makes it like better in general. I think it's again the definitive Persona 3 as of right now, even though it's not really the quote definitive version of Persona 3 it could be. But it's the game that if you want to play Persona 3, yeah, you play Reload, and I feel like that's kind of obvious. Uh, Next topic, Persona 1 and 2 remakes. I know this is like unrelated to Persona 3, but it's in the relation to remakes. Um, Persona 1, I think, should be a adaptation of the manga, which is the best way to consume Persona 1 to me. I think if you want to get into Persona as a whole, you go with the manga instead of the game, because it fleshes out the characters and even the protagonist a lot more than the game does. And it's just better in general to me. The Persona 1 manga is absolutely perfect, and I think if they remade Persona 1 to be a manga adaptation, but a video game, oh my good lord, that would be fucking perfect. Oh my god. Persona 2. I didn't mention it at the start, but Persona 2 used to be my favorite Persona game, but Reload actually topped that, which says a lot. And again, a lot of people can vouch. I was Persona 2's biggest dick rider for so long. uh, so Persona 3 topping it is like kinda monumental. I didn't think it would. But the additional stuff does make it better to me, which I think is crazy. There's not a lot you need to change with Persona 2 if you do remake it, other than obviously the gameplay, and it's the same with Persona 1. That's the only thing people really hesitate playing those games for, is because the gameplay is not up to par with 3, 4, and 5, which is understandable. Like, personally, I like those games, I like the gameplay, it's just a me thing, but you'd be stupid to not, like, expect people to not like it, because it's not the greatest at all. Like, it's really not. It's repetitive. There's no real variety in it, and it's exactly why I think remakes of Persona 1 and 2 are warranted, and they got leaked anyway, so it's gonna happen eventually. I'm assuming the next 2 to 3 years, maybe even longer, if whatever they're doing with Persona 5 is still relevant, because I know they still have like 8 more spin-offs up their ass that are going to be equally as boring. But I'm not here to shit on Persona 5, or that'd be for a different video. Subscribe and you'll see that video eventually, when I have more things to talk about and more people to express those opinions to. But that's pretty much it for Persona 1 and 2 remakes. This game was... Let me talk about Persona 3 in general, like, what it did for me as a Megami Tensei fan. It was the game that introduced me into Megami Tensei. My introduction to Megami Tensei was Persona 5, but the game that got me into all of them, like, all around, was Persona 3. And I think I owe Persona 3 a lot to that, because Megami Tensei is one of my favorite franchises. And I would not have played the Raito games, I wouldn't have played Devil Survivor, I wouldn't have played Digital Devil Saga, I wouldn't have played Nocturne, I wouldn't have played Devil Summoner, I wouldn't have played basically all of them, honestly. I've played quite a few. I've played so many Megaton games. But I owe Persona 3 a lot, and I'm glad that it's one of my favorite Megaton games now with Reload. I loved the original game, but Reload just does so much better, you know? And it's just nice. Persona 3 is a special game to me, and I'm glad that they remade it. I really wish they did 1 and 2 first, because that's like... that feels more warranted than Persona 3, but I'm glad it still exists. I'm glad there's a Persona 3 out there, and I'm glad that there's a lot of people that can enjoy Persona 3 now. if they were hesitant, ooh, English is hard, to do so beforehand, because the original was just, yeah, it was dated. It's a very dated game, and understandably so. I feel like if you didn't want to play those games, it's like, yeah, those games are kind of, yeah, compared to Persona 5. If you go to Persona 5 to, like, Persona 1, you'd be like, ah, dude, this fucking sucks. Which is like, yeah, you would expect that. Uh, but in general, Persona is a very special series to me. It got me a lot. It got me where I am today, you know, with a lot of friends that I still am friends with today. Um, Looking at my side, I see my Joker Nindroid. Which, I'm not into Persona 5 as much. Honestly, I don't think I really like Persona 5 anymore, but I'm still glad I played it. I'm glad I played Persona in Megami Tensei. It's a very special series to me. And again, I'm glad Reload can introduce other people into the older games. The better ones, but yeah. I think if you want to play Persona 3, you play Persona 3 Reload. Don't play Portable. Do not play Portable. It's kind of like a blunt statement, but I highly recommend you play Reload first if you do want to end up playing another version of Persona 3. Uh, FES is still a good game. I think if you want to play that game too, you definitely should, because there is differences. It's very different. Uh, but yeah, I love me some Persona 3 Reload. Pick up your copy today at pre-order stores everywhere. Yeah. I wonder if people are gonna get that reference.